Coaches, are your hitters struggling at the plate? Are they swinging and missing, or maybe whacking the tee further than they're hitting the ball? Hitting a baseball is one of the toughest skills to master in this game, and too often, the advice out there just complicates things further. Stick with us for the next few minutes, and we are gonna simplify everything. We're gonna show you how to teach your players to grip the bat, stand correct in the batter's box, time their swings perfectly, and smash the ball with confidence. Plus, we've got some super fun drills that are gonna help you get back to the basics and make hitting fun and effective.
I'm Duke Baxter with Steve Nicorak and Dominate the Diamond. We've played this game and coached this game for decades and have dedicated our lives to educating and motivating youth athletes of all ages and ability levels. We want to help you take the field with confidence this season and help your players learn the basic skills required to play this game and have a ton of fun. To help you get started this season, we've put together a guide full of free resources to help you combat the 3 biggest obstacles new coaches face. You can grab it using the link in the video description.
All right, coaches, so let's talk about the batting stance, the grip, the load, and where do we even stand in the batter's box? So first and foremost, the grip. We want to make sure that we grip the bat in our fingertips. We want to try to line up our door-knocking knuckles, right? Too often players grip that bat deep in their hands like this, where their elbows are sticking out. We want to line up our door-knocking knuckles with each other so that if I were to point both pointer fingers, they're kind of towards the sky. Now, I was a hitter where my hands or my pointer fingers were crossed a little bit. That's okay too, but we want to make sure that the bat's always loose in our fingertips and not too deep in our palms. Now for the batting stance. Again, some players might start open. They might start closed. They might start with their feet close together. We're not trying to cookie cut and make every single hitter hit the exact same way, but for your younger players, we want to simplify. So what we like to do is get them about a bat's length apart into a nice athletic position. All right, I lay the bat on the ground. That's about how wide my feet are. From here, I could field a ground ball. I could play defense in basketball, nice and athletic in this position. All right, so I've got my stance. I've got my grip with my door-knocking knuckles, and all I'm gonna do is raise my hands off my back shoulder, kind of like right behind my back ear, all right? This is a simple way to get your guys set up in the batter's box in an athletic position in a really simple way. Now, you'll probably see a lot of young hitters when they get in the batter's box, they're not sure where to stand. Do we want to start far away? Do we want to start up on the plate, up in the batter's box, back in the batter's box? We want to make sure that when we get in the box, all right, we're about a bat's length away from the outside corner. So if I were to lay this bat down with about an inch covering the outside corner, that's about where I want to stand to make sure I have enough coverage to cover the outside corner, and I'm also able to get to that inside corner. All right, so I've got my stance, I've got my grip, and now I've got my setup. I think for young players, you could start with their left toe or their front foot about in line with the front of the plate, or in line with the point on home plate here, so they could even start back a little bit. We don't want to be too far up, we definitely don't want to be too far back, and we want to make sure we're not way too far away from home plate to where we can't reach that outside corner. And last but not least, the load. So we've got our grip, we've got our stance, we've got where to stand in the batter's box. Now the load, to me, is just as important, if not more important, than the swing itself. The load is what we're gonna do to make sure that we get on time with the pitch and we're able to get to a position where we really wanna hit from. All right, so again, I get to my batting stance here. As that pitcher starts to work in his delivery and work towards me, I wanna have some rhythm. All right, so you might see some players, they rock their hands back and forth. Some players might bounce the bat off their back shoulder. Other players might be a little bit more still, but we want to be loose and athletic. All right, so now as that pitcher starts to get ready to throw the ball to home plate, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rock to where the knob of my bat works back towards the catcher's face mask, and I'm gonna take a small step forward. All right, you can almost imagine a rubber band from the knob of my bat to my front knee. You'll hear terms like separation or stretch. We want to imagine that that rubber band is stretching out so that when my front foot hits the ground, I'm in a nice athletic position and my hands are back in a strong spot. A lot of times I'll tell young players, when you land, can you feel the ground ball from there? Are you nice and athletic? And with that top hand, can you throw a knockout punch? We want to be in a strong position to hit. Too often young players get set up and they wait too long to hit and then they get rushed. So again, the load is going to be nice and smooth, it's going to be controlled, and you're going to land in a nice athletic position, knob of the bat towards the catcher, and nice and athletic with your feet. So some good drills that you could do when you're working on the mechanics is just basic tee work. But whenever we're hitting off the tee, we wanna make sure that we're making the correct points of contact. And what I mean by that is, how far are we letting that ball travel before we swing? Okay, so you'll see I've got 5 baseballs lined up on the ground. Wherever your player sets up in the batter's box, once they take their step, that pitch right down the middle, they want to hit right off their front foot. So you'll see that this ball is lined up directly across from my front foot. The outside corner is lined up directly in line with my front knee, and then I just continue that line. So as the ball gets closer to me, the further out I want to make contact. So I get set up in this position right here, and we can just work on my grip, my stance, my load. And now when I get to contact on the outside corner right here, you'll see my right elbow is connected to my body. My hands are in tight. That's my outside corner, middle away, right down the middle, middle in, and inside corner. You'll notice my swing didn't change. A lot of times players struggle with mechanics because their timing's off. So if I were to hit this pitch, this outside corner, way out in front, you'll see my swing starts to get long, it gets loopy. So the points of contact are really, really important when you're teaching those basic fundamentals to young hitters. So on that outside pitch, once I land, it's in line with my front knee, and I should be trying to drive this ball to the opposite gap. Now the pitch down the middle, I want to hit just off my front foot. And now for the inside corner, I want to make sure I get that barrel out in front. All right, guys, so we've talked about getting loaded and getting to that good, strong launch position, right? So once my foot lands, my knob's at the catcher, I'm in a nice, strong, athletic position to hit. Now, as I start to make my move towards the pitcher, I want to make sure my swing is tight and connected to my body. A lot of times you'll see young players, their swings get long and loopy, right? They start casting their hands. So I want to make sure that as I start making my move towards the pitcher, the knob of the bat is working directly towards the pitcher, and the barrel of the bat is hugging my back shoulder. I tell a lot of young hitters, almost pretend you're making a muscle with your back arm, right? Stay in that bicep curl position as long as you can, so that as you start making your move, the barrel starts to flatten out a bit, and we work on hitting the inside of the baseball. Again, my top hand, my rear arm is connected to my body. My right elbow is tight, and I get to a good palm up, palm down position. My top hand palm facing the sky, my bottom hand palm facing the ground. We never want to let our hands cast away from our body and create that long swing path.
Coaches, do you have players that are constantly out in front and losing their balance when they swing? Leave in the comments below and we'll be sure to help you out.
All right, coaches, so now I'm going to talk you through a couple of my favorite drills when it comes to keeping that palm up, palm down position, staying tight, and hitting through the ball as long as possible. First one we're going to do, freeze that extension. So for those players that get long or they have a hard time maintaining palm up, palm down and want to roll their hands too early, we're just going to take a normal swing, but we're going to freeze with our barrel pointed right at the pitcher. You'll notice I'm still palm up, palm down. The second drill, we have a connection ball here. We're going to put this connection ball right in our front arm. So it's kind of like near our bicep, forearm, up against our chest. And what this does is it helps us work directly back towards the pitcher. You can use a basketball, you can use a deflated beach ball. We love these connection balls. We use them a lot here at the facility. So it's gonna be a very similar swing where we're freezing that extension, but I'm setting up with this right in my front arm like this. You'll see I'm really able to get through it, and I'm still here, palm up, palm down. The ball helps me maintain that space between my arms and doesn't let me get too alligator armish and swing across my body. And last but not least, the hitting disc drill. Great station for your players at practice. Coach Duke and I are gonna partner up here. We're gonna take this hitting disc, we're gonna put it in our fingertips, and all we're gonna do is work on throwing it back and forth to one another. It should come out like a Frisbee. If your players have a hard time staying through the ball, they might throw it into the ground. If they swing uphill, they might throw it in the air. I want to take a nice easy throw right back towards my partner, and he's going to do the same thing back to me. You'll see it's helping me stay palm up, palm down, and get all the way through extension. So freeze that extension, connection ball drill, and the hitting disc are 3 great ways to help your player stay palm up, palm down, and hit through the ball. All right, coaches, now we've talked through the basic mechanics, the setup, the grip, the stance, the load, the launch position, palm up, palm down, hitting through the ball. Now we want to talk about staying balanced and having rhythm. A lot of players are falling all over the place with their feet. So we want to make sure that when they get in the batter's box, they have heavy feet underneath them, they can stay balanced throughout the entire swing, and they're able to drive the ball right back towards the pitcher. So for the couple swings I'm going to take here, I'm going to make sure I freeze on my finish. I'm going to take a full swing, and I'm going to freeze. If you have players falling off balance, that might be a challenge for them. You can even have them step on a line or step on a balance beam, but make sure that after they take their swings, they're able to stick their finish and hold their pose. And now for rhythm, those players that stand in the batter's box and get too stiff. They're like robots in the batter's box. They get really either nervous or scared or timid or over mechanical. We want to try to create some freedom and some rhythm in their swing. So I'm going to show you my 2 favorite drills right now. The first one is called the walk-in drill. You'll have your players start in the back corner of the batter's box. They're going to take 1 step towards home plate and then take a full swing. It's almost impossible to be stiff when you're doing this drill. So I'm going to demonstrate one here. I'm going to step in, Coach Duke's going to toss, and I'm going to take my swing. Again, it's just keeping me loose, allowing me to have a little bit of rhythm. And the next one for creating rhythm is what we call the skater drill or the step back drill. So we're going to get to our normal batting stance. I'm going to take a small hop forward, a small hop backwards, and then I'm going to take my swing. 2 things. 1, it's going to create that rhythm, but 2, it's also going to help your players feel like they're really getting loaded back into that rear hip. It's going to look like this. Step forward, step back, and then a full swing. Step forward, back. It's creating some rhythm, some freedom in the batter's box, because at the end of the day, we want to have hitters that are on time, that are aggressive, and they're loose and relaxed in there. They're not too stiff and rigid. All right, coaches, bonus teaching point for you. The mechanics are important, don't get me wrong, but we have to develop hitters that get in the batter's box with confidence and they believe that they can hit. Too often we're teaching robots and kids get in there and they get so mechanical and they're worried about what their swing looks like. At the end of the day, ask your players this: are you on time? Are you swinging at good pitches? Do you have a good plan? The rest of the numbers, the batting average, the statistics, that's going to take care of itself if we can develop hitters at practice, but give them the freedom to fail in game. Teach kids to be aggressive, teach them to be on time, and swing the bat early in the count. So coaches, remember, hitting is just one of the foundational pieces that we have to be able to teach our players. Be sure to check out our upcoming videos on throwing, fielding, and catching, the other key foundational pieces in developing youth athletes.
You can also check out our website, www.dominatethediamond.com. Dominate the day.